Okay, so today's video will be on measures of spread. So our learning goals for today, by the end of the lesson you'll be able to calculate the range of a given set of data, calculate the interquartile range of a given set of data, and represent data using box and whisker plots, and interpret box and whisker plots to find a range. Okay, so key ideas of range. So the range of a set of data is found by subtracting the lowest number from the highest number. So for instance, find the range of the following set of data. So our range is going to be our highest number, which if we quickly scan that data looks to be 28. We're going to minus our lowest number, which is 1. So our range would be equal to 27. That would be the range of that data. Okay, the next thing is the interquartile range. So we sometimes just write IQR just to be a bit quicker, and it's found using the following steps. So the first thing you have to do is sort the data into ascending order. So for instance here we've got this data sorted from lowest to highest. The next thing you do is if there's an odd number of values, you're going to remove the middle one. So just pretend we had another one here, which was 12. We just got rid of that. We just got rid of 12. We removed that from our data set. Then we've split it into two equal size groups. So you can see here, this side and this side both have the same number of numbers. From there, we find the median of each side. So the median is the middle number. And remember, if there's two medians, so two middle numbers, what we do is we find the mean of those. So the mean of 7 and 9 is 7 plus 9 divided by 2, which is 8, which would give us our median. And that would be called the lower quartile. And the upper quartile is just the median of the upper half, and that would be the mean of 19 and 20, which is 19.5. And the last thing is the interquartile range, which is our upper quartile, 19.5. Subtract our lower quartile, which is 8, which would give us an interquartile range of 11.5. So I'm going to do some examples so we can have a go at this. Okay, so find the range and interquartile range of the following sets of data. So remember our range, let's do A first. Our range is just our highest number, take our lowest. So our highest in that first lot of data is 18, and our lowest is 1, so our range is going to be 17. Now our interquartile range. So remember the steps for finding the interquartile range. First we had to put them into ascending order. So we have 1, 2, 4, what have we got next? 10 is next. 10, 13, 14, 15, and then 18. Okay, so we've got them in ascending order. Then if there's an odd number, we have to remove the middle one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not good. So then we're going to split them in half. So 4 numbers on either side. Split it down the middle. From there, what we have to do is we have to find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. So our lower quartile is the median, so our middle value of these lower numbers. So the median, our middle value is 2 and 4. So remember, from there, if there's 2 values in the middle, so 2 median values, we have to find the mean of those. And to find the mean, we do 2 plus 4 divided by 2, so 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So our lower quartile is going to be 3. Our upper quartile, again, is our median of these two numbers. Our median of all the numbers. The middle numbers are 14 and 15. They're in the middle because there's 2 of them. What we have to then do is find the mean of those, which is 14 plus 15 divided by 2, to find our upper quartile, which is going to be 14.5. Now, our interquartile range is our upper value, 14.5. Subtract our lower value, which is 3, which will give us 11.5. And that would be our interquartile range for our first one there. Okay, so we found the range, which was 17, and the interquartile range, which was 11.5. We're going to do the same for our second set of data. Clear that. So again, we're going to arrange our data in ascending order. So we've got 2 is our lowest value, then we've got 3, then we've got 4, we've got 7, 8, 8, 8. Oh, I forgot 6. We've got a 6 here. Let's pop that 6 in there. Then we've got 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so that's all our data in ascending order. So now we're going to, oh, I forgot to find the range. So we're going to find the range first, sorry. And our range is our upper value, take our lower. So 11, take 2, which leaves us with 9. So our range would be 9. So now let's find the interquartile range. So we've put them in order. We now have to divide them into 2 even groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 values. So remember we have to remove the middle one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 is going to be our middle value. So I'm going to draw it down the middle, we're going to remove that 8, get rid of it. So now we've got 5 on each side. So we've got rid of that extra 8 just so we can have even amounts there, rub that out, and we're going to calculate the interquartile range. So the first thing we have to do is we have to find the median of the lower quartile. So this was our lower quartile and this was our upper quartile. So the median is the middle and our middle is 4. So in this case, our lower quartile is 4. Now our upper quartile is our middle number, which is 9. So our upper quartile is 9. And our interquartile range is our upper quartile, 9, minus our lower quartile, 4, which will give us 5. So our interquartile range is 5. Okay, so the next thing that's kind of related to this is what we call box plots. So a box plot, which is also called a box and whisker plot, is a graph. And this graph shows the minimum and the maximum values. It also shows the median, which is our middle value, and it also shows the lower and the upper quartile. So you can see down the bottom, it's kind of represented there. So a quarter of the data, so 25% of the data, is spread across each of the 4 sections of the graph. So let's look at all of this. So this would be our box and whisker plot in the blue there. So on our end here, which is drawn with a line, would be our maximum value. At the opposite end, which we draw with another line, is our minimum value. Now, we've also got a whisker, which is that line, and that line will represent 25% of the data. The opposite end, we also have another line, which is another 25% of the data. Then we have a straight line, which starts at the edge of our box, and that's our lower quartile. In the middle, we have our median, so our middle value, and that box here, from the lower quartile to the median, is 25%. Then we have from the median to our next line represents another 25%, and that other line there is the upper quartile. Okay, so we're going to have a few examples to have a look at these. So we've got a box and whisker plot here. So the box plot summarizes the number of eggs laid by all chickens on a farm in a week. So we can see there. So state the minimum and maximum number of eggs laid. So looking at our graph, this dot here represents our minimum, this one represents our maximum. So for A, our minimum number is 2, and our maximum number is 10. That's a busy chicken. Okay, so minimum and our maximum. Next one is find the range of the eggs laid. So range, remember, is our largest number, subtract our smallest number. So 10 minus 2 will give us our range, which is 8. C, state the median number of eggs laid. Remember, our median is going to be in the middle, and it's our line in the middle. So the median number of eggs that the chickens laid in a week was 6. So on average, they're laying 6 eggs a week. Sorry, median, the middle number. The median is 6. Okay, D, find the interquartile range. So our interquartile range, if we remember, so this is D, our interquartile range is our upper quartile, which was represented by this line here, so 8, minus our lower quartile, which was this number here, which is 3. And that'll give us 5. So our interquartile range is 5. E, 50% of the chickens lay less than what amount of eggs? Now, this makes us remember how these were divided. So this line here represents 25%. This part of the box from our lower quartile to our median is 25%. From our median to our upper quartile is another 25%. And from our upper quartile to the maximum is another 25%. So our question says 50% of the chickens laid less than what amount of eggs? So 50% would be right in the middle here. So 50% of them laid less than 6 eggs. F, 25% of chickens laid above how many eggs? That's a really weirdly worded question. I think it's meaning what is our top 25% number, maybe? So 25% of chickens laid 8 or more eggs? Okay, and our last one, which is G, if there were 1,000 chickens, how many would lay less than 3 eggs per week? Okay, so what we can do there is we can find 3 on our graph, which is here. And 3 conveniently is at our end of our lower quartile range. So if we look at 3 or less, how many out of the survey laid 3 or less? It's 25%. So 25% lay 3 or less eggs. So we need to find 25% of 1,000. So we can do 25% times 1,000. So you can probably do that in your head, but I'm going to actually tell you how to do that on a calculator. So you can turn 25% into a decimal, which is 0.25, and multiply that by 1,000. So you can just, in your calculator, just write 0.25 multiplied by 1,000, and that will give you your answer. 250. So therefore 250 chickens would lay 3 or less eggs. Would lay 3 or less eggs. And that's it. It's as easy as that. So that would be our answer for G. Okay, another worked example. Consider the following data set representing 11 scores which resulted from throwing 2 dice at the same time and adding the scores. Okay, so they've thrown 2 dice, they've added their results together, and that were the results. So find the minimum value, the maximum value, the median, the lower quartile, and the upper quartile. So for everything, we are going to start by putting it in ascending order. So our smallest one was 4. And then we had a 5. And we had 2 6s. Then we had a 7, 2 7s. And an 8, nope, 2 8s. A 9, a 10, and 12. Okay, so we're going to find the minimum value, which was 4, the maximum value, which was 12, the median, which is the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 values were rolled. So the 6th one will be our median in our middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 7. So the median is 7. So the lower quartile. So remember, to find the quartile, we have to divide them in half. We already know there's an uneven amount, so we're going to remove the middle value, which is that 7. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to divide it in half. Now, our lower quartile is the median of the lower half of the data. So the middle value of the lower half is 6. The upper quartile is the middle value of the upper numbers, which is 9. There we go. Next. Okay, so there's our data again. Draw a box plot to represent this data. So I'm going to put it in order again. I should have copied it across in order. That would have been smart. Okay, so we had a 4, a 5, 2 6s, 7, 2 7s, 2 8s, a 9, 10, and a 12. Okay, so draw a box plot to represent the data. So along the bottom, we are going to have our numbers starting from our minimum right up to our maximum. Oh, well, that's probably too long. Okay, so our minimum here was 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we only need up to there. So I'll rub out the rest of that line with my super handy, super slow eraser there. Okay, and we're going to fill in those numbers. So we had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so what we had to do is, the first thing I would do is you draw a line to represent your median. So our median value was our 7. And then we're going to draw a line to represent our lower quartile value. And our lower quartile value was 6. And a line to represent our upper quartile value, which was, oh, let me try and remember, what was it? 9? Yep, 9. So we've got our line, so we've got our median, which is here. We have our upper quartile, which is this one, and our lower quartile, which is this one. So then we're just going to join that together to get our box. And the last thing we have to do is the whiskers. So our highest amount was actually 12, even though I've written 10 up here, it was supposed to be 12. So put our dot or a line, it's up to you, whichever you prefer. I'll draw a line at the 12, connect it to our box, and on the other end, a line at our lowest, which was 4, and connect that to our box as well. And of course, you are using your ruler, and you're working down the page, so you wouldn't have that mind blank that I just had trying to remember what we'd worked out for our quartiles. And that's how you create a box and whisker plot. So it's been a bit of a longer video. What are we up to? Ooh, almost 16 minutes. So sorry about that, but we have covered a lot in this video. Rewatch it if you need to, if I've gone too fast over any of it, and make sure you come and see me in class if you need help.